Hello, everyone. Welcome to 10 Minutes Astrology. Once a week, me and Alejo will meet you here to talk about astrology and help you to navigate through your chart. Hello, Alejo. How are
Hi,
you?
Rod. How are you? Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too. Okay. I have something important to announce because we all know that the first Academy of Astrology AOA UK online conference is going to start by the end of November this month. And then the first part would be in Chinese track, Chinese language track, and that would be a lot of international speaker talking about astrology, but we have interpreted translated to Chinese word. This is very nice way to have some exchange idea. But the second week of the English track, everyone are welcome to join us. And at this moment, because we have some program changed because Stefano couldn't make it, so we invite a Greek astrologer, Christos Archer, I
Christos
think,
Archos. Yes.
Ahos, to
I say
join
it
us.
in Greek.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for helping me. The next time when I make Christos, I can pronounce correctly his name. Well, Christos, join us. So you know what? I start another very nicely. I start another discount. So we have at this moment, if you want to join us, there's a 50% discount again, like the early
Wow.
bird. So if you miss last one, don't miss this one. This one will end very soon. Okay, so Alejo, but what are you going to talk about in the Chinese track?
In Chinese track, I'm going to be talking about the progressions. So basically, how the chart develops through time, how your inner landscape changes through time. It's not so much about outer event, it's more about your inner journey.
Okay, so it's about the inner journey and with the secondary progression one. That is sounds very interesting. I think my students are already looking forward. You know, they recently Chinese team, Chinese world team, they recently took our 10 minutes astrology, the cut a few
Ah,
episode to promote you.
wow.
Now
Thank you.
you are well known in Chinese area now.
I'm famous
Okay.
now.
Oh, he's a famous. Okay. Talk about this. Well, we have to go back to our 10 minutes astrology. Forgive us, everyone. No, so first thing, we're going to talk about Alejo.
Today we're going to talk about the moon in Taurus. Remember, we're going through the moon. We're going with the moon through the different signs. And I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to mention, last time you mentioned that I used the word need a lot
Yes,
because I think it's an easy way of understanding what the moon is about. And
I think so.
you emphasize that the moon is what we need and not what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And it may sound like a little bit of how do you call it? A perfectionist detail to say, okay, need or want, but it's very important because
Mm-hmm.
let's say the person has the moon in Aries, like we saw in the last episode, but then they
Yeah.
have Venus in Libra.
Uh-huh.
So they will have this contradiction. They will say, I just want to be in a peaceful way, in a relaxed way with my
Mm-hmm.
partner, but I can't help it. Every time we're together, I start, let's do this, let's do that, let's go for this, let's go for that. So they might feel this inner contradiction. So it's important, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's very important to understand the difference of needing and desires. It's not the same.
Yeah. Let me raise another question. I think Alejo is capable to handle this question. A lot of beginner and our student I usually say, look at the chart like this. If I say the sun is in this way, moon in another way, and Venus another way, are we contradict ourselves that much?
Yes, we
Human
are,
life
darling.
and human life is so complicated.
Yes, it is. Have you just found out? I always, when they say this, I always quote Song of Myself, and
Uh-huh.
he says, do I contradict myself? Yes, I contain multitudes.
Which is true. Which is
Yes,
true.
it is
And
true.
this make our life so interesting. Well, I think that's starting to focus on the moon in Taurus, which is a very interesting sign because in the traditional astrology, moon exalted in the Taurus. And that's so some astrologer will say, wow, you have a very, very nice moon sign, moon in Taurus. What do you think, Alejo?
So, because the moon is considered to be exalted in Taurus, that's why the
Mm-hmm.
astrologers say it's so nice. So, I would say, let's see why. Well, let's see what it
Mm-hmm.
means. You know, let's see
Go
what it
on.
means to try to see why people might say, it's such a nice moon. So the moon is about protection, right? And feeling
Mm-hmm.
safe. And Taurus is about stability and grounding. So if the moon is about protection, to create a stable environment in which you feel safe, a grounded environment in which you feel protected, and it's an earth sign. So like you feel protected in real practical ways. You have food, you have a nice house, you have a nice bed where you can sleep and rest. All of these things are emphasized with the moon in Taurus. I would say there is this kind of, yes, this need again, or this sense of safety that is found when things are stable, when things are clear, when things are graspable, when things are, you can experience things with your senses. It's not something too abstract. Also when things give pleasure. And I also like the idea, I also like thinking about the modalities. If everybody remembers, we were
Yep.
saying that the signs have three possible modalities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And by the way, Rod, I had to teach this 2 days ago at the faculty, and
Yeah.
I used your example of the people trying to cross the road.
That's a good
Yes.
tradition. That's a faculty tradition from Sue Tompkins. And we pass it
Really?
on.
And it's going
Yeah.
back, yes.
Yeah.
I mentioned you, I thought it was from you. Anyway, so uh, Taurus is a fixed sign. So the moon here means that this person, to feel safe, they need stability, they need things to be fixed. Now, again, as I always look at I can't help it to be like I have this Jungian approach to life. So I see also the dark always. Where's the shadow? The
Yeah.
shadow of this might be that there's also um, an extreme comfort in things that are in sedentarism, can you say, like the idea of no motion. It would be almost
Okay.
the opposite of Aries, right? The moon in Aries
Ah.
finds safety in action. The moon in Taurus finds safety in the opposite, in non-action, in staying, in relying, in relaxing. It's like a chill approach to life. Let's just relax and enjoy life. And the moon in Taurus, yes. So there can be sometimes a tendency not to react, or a tendency to avoid change at all cost, because I feel safe when things are stable, when things stay the same. So it's hard to, with the moon in Taurus, we can imagine, a mother again, or like a childhood environment in which things were stable, things were clear. There was always food. There was always, the senses were always exposed to stimuli. So there's a sense of the stability and the pleasure and the groundingness that the real world offers. So when the person feels threatened, if they have the moon in Taurus, they will go back to that place. They will try to keep things as stable and grounding and controlled as they can. And of course, sometimes maybe the moment is asking for a change, right? So this might be
Yeah.
the dark aspect.
Yeah. I really enjoy this way and teaching together with Alejo because we are sharing the similar technique when you think about trying to interpret any planet in any sign, this kind of combination. The first, you ask yourself, what is the element of that sign? What is the element? So as Alejo just mentioned, moon in the Taurus is in the Earth element, and then also what's the modality? It's a fixed sign. So element and the modality together give a sign a very clear guideline. Then you add this: moon is need. Moon is how to make your life comfort. Moon is what you're doing every day about about the essential, about the touch, about the grasp, about the things you can hold in the four elements. Earth is the only thing you can hold on your hand, not hurting you, okay, or not escape. So this is the one thing, the things that they can hold for the Earth sign, especially for Taurus, because they want, it's a fixed sign. They want to hold entire of their life. So it's a very interesting when we think about how to apply this in everyday life. So as I say, moon sign, I like to encourage my client and my student to include the moon sign quality in everyday life, especially in their work. If that is part of their work, make life so easy. So what I think is, if someone who has moon in Taurus, then try to think about anything tangible, anything value or anything you try to evaluate it or try to contact with money, financial body. It's a lot of things. I think this world, this material world is a paradise for Moon in Taurus because you need everything you can touch, you can grasp, and try to maintain it. Maintain is another key phrase, a key word
Mm.
for the fixed time. So try to maintain things as long as they can, as work as usual, and as long as they can. This would be the word of the Moon in Taurus. Alejo.
Fantastic. Yeah, completely agree. I love this approach. You're saying you bring this idea of how to play your moon in everyday life, to pay attention to play your moon in everyday life.
Because what I think is that maybe I have a Taurus idea, but it's very interesting. We have 24 hours. And usually the last century technique, we divide by 3. You have 8 hours sleep,
Yeah.
you have 8 hours work, and you have 8 hours for yourself. If you have a moon sign in the 8
And
hours of work,
if I might interrupt, I think nowadays it's much more than 8 hours for work. I think
I
we're losing
know,
all of our rights as employees. Well,
yeah,
we're
we
independent.
we are
We choose
slave.
this path. But yeah, I think I'm not sure if it's still 8 hours for
Yeah,
work, to
I
be
know.
honest.
So if you use it, you don't need to use that 8 hours for other things. Rest of 8 hours to satisfy yourself. You already use the 8 hours of work to make yourself calm, to make yourself feel quiet and calm and satisfied. Well, I think that's ideal. Anyway, let's talk about it. Because you just bring something up.
Actually, yes, I forgot we
Yes,
were
our
using this
working hour
chart.
is much longer and longer. We feel like we are a house elf or factory elf, like our leaders say, doing this and doing that. Oh, suddenly we all become a little bit, fighting
Yeah.
spirit coming up. But I think it's true. I mean, well, to be honest, for last century or for last 2 centuries, people misunderstood this person a lot, to be honest. If I easily say I believe in this person, a lot of people will scare, and some country will put me in prison.
Yeah, it's true, actually, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, Alejo, who are we going to talk about it?
So we're going to look at the chart of Karl Marx, and I had my sociologist teacher who always said one has to read Marx not to agree with him, but to
Yeah,
understand how to read reality. And I think it's a very
exactly.
good point.
I agree. Here we
And
got Karl Marx. Yep.
so here's Karl Marx, and he has the moon in Taurus in the second house, as you can see.
Mm.
So, and of course, what did he talk about? He talked about resources and work and how we handle resources, right?
Yeah.
And he talked about also, well, about the means of productions, I would say, more than resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that he has not only the moon in Taurus, actually the sun in Taurus, and both in the second house. So like he's really focused about resources and the value we give to resources and how we handle this, right? Now,
Exactly.
we can imagine in his everyday life, I don't know, maybe he needed, also I can imagine him, like he has this idea of, with his work, of stability and kind of keeping up with what he believed in
Mm-hmm.
and holding on to what he believed. I think I
Yeah.
see this kind of sense of grounding, a grounding spirit, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. And the idea he's talking about the capitalism, and it is very important. It gives us idea about when you look those super rich or rich people, or even your boss. Sorry, I don't have boss, but look at those boss, and they will think they are self-made. They are self-made billionaire, or they're self-made whatever. No, in Karl Marx's view, they are taking advantage of race of people, of that worker, okay, of those workers. And now look at his Mars in Cancer near the sixth house card, and also Moon is the ruler of the sixth house. So
Yeah.
bring the working class theme into his consideration in his Moon's life. So I think, well, we are talking about what we already know, but what we don't know is his everyday life, how he get how he get things done, and how he keep himself satisfied and calm. But the things he focused indeed is material world and how it works.
Yeah, and
And
he, so basically, sorry.
Yeah, go on, go on, go on.
No, I would say he needed to connect with this, with the eye of the moon. He needed to ground himself and to think about these things. And he, with the moon in Taurus in the second, maybe he needed material safety. But the way he approached that was different to the
Yeah.
way most people did it. And to write The Capital, I haven't read The Capital, to be honest. I read one chapter from The Capital, and then I read other things by him.
Yeah.
But it's a huge book. It's like a brick. You definitely need to have a lot of Taurus in your chart to be able to cope with that, to write it, and probably to read it also.
Yeah.
And, I think it's interesting, if we may divert a little bit from the moon.
Yeah.
When you were saying this, I was thinking of this Uranus and Neptune in the 10th house.
Yes.
Like breaking the way we see authority with Uranus, changing the way we see authority. And with Neptune, maybe the illusions that we have towards what it means to be successful, what it means to be a champion, in the professional arena.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is pretty interesting because his view totally changed our world, to be honest. Well, people using in different way. I do believe this kind of we have to see how people taking advantage of another. We should be understand. But well, in last century, when I was childhood, when we talk about that, he was such a bad guy or such a terrible guy, and in the mindset leading by maybe capitalism. I don't want to mention any country, but they will call you are commie. Then you are easy to be put in prison. So we learn to silence ourselves, not talking about it. Well, anyway, it's a thought, it's a one interpretation of the word, which I kind of agree. The working class has been taking quite a lot of advantage.
And we can see it today, I think. This is turning into, this is not being the astrology podcast. Maybe we should
astrologer.
Stop.
You couldn't stop me.
I mean, we can see it today with the regulations. Now in Greece, they approved this regulation that, how was it? If you have 2 jobs, you can work up to like 12 or 14 hours a day. I don't remember now how much. It's like, you can, and it's like, come on, our grandparents fought so much to be able to have the proper amount of holidays, to only work 8 hours a day. And now it's because of COVID and because of supposedly the economical, financial necessity of the rich people, the workers are starting to lose all of their rights. And I think the problem is that people don't realize that we have to, I was talking about this the other day. Okay, I'm going off track. I'm going to stop.
Okay, let's stop, because I know if Alejo is on this, and I would definitely add in a few and say, let's keep talking about this, because I love talking about astrology with political and economy. But we will stop here. Today we're talking about the moon in Taurus. And the next week, Alejo, what are we going to talk about?
Next week is moon in Gemini. And I think we're starting to flavor the moon in Gemini. We're getting into this discussion.
Okay, thanks everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.